come here. I have a secret. No, a little bit closer. We can't let them hear. Okay, that's better. Listen, I'm only gonna tell you this secret if you promise to keep it between us. Definitely do not repost this video. Definitely do not share it everywhere you can. The secret is this. They are afraid of us. Not just afraid, they are terrified of us and what we have the power to do to them should we choose to do it. How do I know? Stay with me. It's Wednesday, March 11th, 2026, and we are hearing stories surface out of several publications, including the New York Times, that Pam Bondi has in fact moved to military housing because of threats. The New York Times subline reads, "The Attorney General relocated from a Washington apartment to a base in the area within the past month, according to people familiar with the situation." Which, okay, but here's the deal. She's not the only one. These enormous, beautiful historic homes from the early 20th century are located on Fort McNair in Washington, D.C. And this row of houses is specifically known as General's Row. And that's because they are supposed to house and have historically housed the top-ranking officials in the U.S. Army. Now, I will say, over the last several administrations, we have seen Department of Defense secretaries reside in these homes, specifically one home with their family and a security detail. And for me, this makes sense, right? The defense secretary is second in command only to the commander-in-chief, which is the president, so they are residing where their work is. That makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is that a top-ranking Army official was kicked out of one of these homes so Marco Rubio could live there, not even with his family, who reside in Florida and stay in Florida, because he wanted to live in one of these homes by himself. So at present, both Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Defense, although he'll tell you war, Pete Hegseth, reside in two of these homes. This beautiful home, located on Joint Base Anacostia Bolling, also in Washington, D.C., is supposed to be where the U.S. Coast Guard's commandant lives. Again, top-ranking officials. Instead, at least until presently, Kristi Noem lives there. Kristi Noem, I don't know if she's been kicked out because she still remains part of this government. I don't know if Mark Wayne Mullen is about to reside here. I don't know, but regardless, there are Trump cabinet members living in, again, what is supposed to be the U.S. Coast Guard Commandant's house. Joseph Goebbels 2.0, aka Stephen Miller, moved his entire family into a military base's housing of some kind, I assume another top official, and he's so paranoid that we don't even know where specifically he lives. We don't know on what base, we don't know what house, nothing. And the reason that this administration cites him moving, not just him, but his entire family, onto a military base is because there were protests outside of his house, and he was a little bit scared. This guy is super paranoid and super afraid of us. He won't even tell us where specifically he is living. And rounding out the list, we have Joint Base Meyer Henderson Hall, where Dan Driscoll is currently living, I assume again in one of the top officials' houses, and he is the U.S. Secretary of the Army, which I might let that one slide too, because again, this is where his work is. But that being said, historically, there is literally zero reason for any member of the cabinet or any Trump or any other president's top officials to live on these bases. All to say, it is very evident that not just Pamela Jo Bondi, but the whole lot of them are so terrified of the American people, not those who threaten them from outside our borders, the American people, that they choose to live under lock and key. And as one final note, I would like to point out the fact that Pam Bondi protects pedophiles, including the President of the United States and many other powerful people. And as a result, when she lives on military housing, our military is then protecting the person who is protecting pedophiles. Let that sink in.